At this point and at this junction of this story, it's hard not to believe that this boy was murdered. Mohbad filed a petition to the Lagos state government that his life was being threatened by one Sammy and no one did anything. When I saw this, I was stunned. We know very well that Mohbad has expressed that his life has been threatened multiple times. He did so in 2022, calling out on Naira Marley and his gang that they were after his life. There was also a leaked text message and a leaked chat between him and his girlfriend, his current wife, where he also was accusing her of the same thing, that, if anything happens to him, she should be held responsible. So it's a common thing with him, clearly, to make these claims that people are after his life or people should be held responsible if anything should happen to him. However, when it comes to this particular one, I think this is very serious. I feel like this is the one that we should be looking out to. This is where the police needs to come in and investigate this man's death. Because unlike the rest, this petition was filed just 3 months ago in June of 2023. And there's a video circulating to back it up. A video that shows where the so-called Sammy came to attack Mohbad at a video shoot, destroying properties and even succeeding in injuring him. I'm going to guess it was after that attack that Mohbad filed this petition. Mohbad even stated in the petition that the Larry guy said that when next he sees him, he's going to kill him. This is serious and nobody did anything. And even now that he's dead, nobody is still looking into that line of possibility that this boy was murdered. Let's talk about the nurse that gave him the injection that killed him. Because the thing is, even if we want to point fingers at Naira Marley, Sammy Kelly, his wife, the point is, we know something for a fact, that he went to a hospital, got an injection, slumped, and died. If anybody really wanted to kill this boy, they would not do it directly. If they wanted to do it and get away with it, they will do it in a way that it may not come back to them. And it's looking like it's what they may have done. Is it possible that the nurse who gave him the injection that eventually took his life was sent by all the people or any of the people that we are suspecting did it? Even if it was his wife, even if it was Naira Marley, even if it was Sammy Kelly, even if it was anybody, they would have done it in a way. And now we've seen the method in which he died. He went to the hospital, got an injection, slumped, and all of a sudden nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the nurse. Nobody's talking about the hospital that administered the injection that had him die instantly afterwards. Why is it looking like those people are being protected right now by someone? Who is the so-called nurse that injected him the substance that killed him? What was in that substance? Has it been checked? Has it been investigated? And let me shock you guys. This is Mohbad's father. He did an interview with OG Baba, and in his interview there was a part he said that he also had a feeling about the nurse that gave him the injection. That is, this man is also thinking in that direction. He did not know who the nurse is and how qualified the nurse was. He even mentioned that the nurse must have been an auxiliary nurse. And how come nobody's talking about that? Another thing that the man also said that will blow your mind is that he said that Mohbad was called by this nurse to come and take the injection. Initially, I thought Mohbad was the one who went to the hospital himself and they saw that he was sick and they decided to inject him. That might be the case.
I did not suspect anybody at all. So, according to what I heard from people, I didn't believe on that. Because the only thing that I even think of, maybe this auxiliary nurse that used to treat people, which is very bad. I didn't know the kind of the level that the woman is. I said they called him, they invite him to give him injection.
Mohbad was called on the phone by the medical people or the nurse or whoever that person was to come and take the injection. And that injection was what eventually killed him. Which meant if somebody really wanted to use that nurse to get to him, they would have prepared whatever they wanted to use to kill him. The nurse knew he was coming. If any of the suspects that we're all suspecting really wanted to kill this boy through that nurse, that is the way they would have done it. They would have negotiated with the nurse, met the nurse outside at the corner, given her the money that she needed to be given, tell her to call him, give him the injection, and he goes. My only problem is, instead of running an autopsy, why was this family so quick to bury him? Even in a small casket that wasn't even fitting for him. That is my problem. Ordinarily, with all of these possibilities, I would guess the family will at least check it, investigate the nurse, to make sure that the nurse part is clean, to make sure that it's not from the hospital, to make sure it's not the fault of the nurse or it's not the substance that the nurse gave to him that killed him. But nobody did that. They quickly just buried him. An autopsy wasn't even done. An autopsy can't even be done right now. I don't know if it can, but I think it can. But I don't know if they would allow for his body to be exhumed. Because it seems like whoever idea it was for him to be buried so quickly might know something we don't. Because this guy's death is fishy. You can't tell me that this young man has been complaining that people are after his life for years and we did not listen. He even went as far as filing a petition against someone, and still we are here talking about he died from ear infection. This is so unfair. He has just been disregarded till his death. Even in his death, he's still being disregarded. There are people who lose their loved one even from natural causes, but they still put up a fight to be sure that it's natural causes. Yeah, we have people threatening his life. We have someone threatening to kill him the next time he sees him. We have a nurse who called him from wherever he was to come and take an injection because clearly he has underlying issue. So he's frequently going to the hospital. So that could be something in his nature, because if he was a regular healthy boy that don't need all this constant medical attention, it would be odd for a nurse to call him to come and take an injection. But since he is frequent in the hospital, I can see why if a nurse should call him to come to the hospital to take an injection, he would get up and go, because clearly he might need it. So that looks like an opportunity for someone to pay or bribe a medical practitioner to inject him a substance that would kill him. And now all of a sudden, we are not talking about the nurse. Is it not strange that nobody's talking about the nurse? We don't know who the nurse is. We don't know what he was injected with. All of a sudden, we're talking about Naira Marley, Sammy, Kelly. They were talking about his wife. We're talking about his properties. And nobody's talking about the person that gave him the injection that killed him. We need answers, but it's unfortunate that now that he has been buried, we may not get the answers. And all these people that we are suspecting, all these people that he has mentioned after his life, they will not be looked into. They may not even get the benefit of the doubts, because this autopsy would have even vindicated them one way somehow, but now they may not even get it. Wow.